All right, hello, Honors 410. Here we are. We're at the cusp of this workshop process for real now. I hope everyone's gotten a good start on working on their drafts. So looking ahead here, this is going to be our last class. We're talking about a published work for a little while before we come back to this towards the very end of class. But so for today's session, I'm mostly going to focus on the title story, how Rabbit went down. And then I'm going to try to keep this one short as well, because again, I know we have kind of those moving pieces of the communal writing project. We're getting started on that workshop process. And as we kind of alluded to before, that workshop process is going to be a little bit more work intensive than other aspects of this class, just because there will be that steady flow of getting peer stories to read in addition to turning in your own. So without further ado, getting into the McBee reading for this time. So I'm mostly kind of more big picture questions related to this story. First of all, the setting for this story. So it's set in New Orleans. And I want to kind of just get a sense of like, what do we know about New Orleans? What do we think about when we hear New Orleans? What associations do we have? I think of New Orleans as being one of those cities where like there's a lot of cities, at least in my mind, it's just sort of like, it's just a city. Like I don't really know much at all about it. But New Orleans, I think, does have sort of a character associated with it in and of itself, some very specific qualities that I think do inform this story in some pretty meaningful ways. So I wanted to get a sense for all of you. Did it sort of hit in that way for you? But also just like, what do you think of when you hear New Orleans, for those who do have any exposure or any thoughts about it? Otherwise, one of the most striking devices in this story is that we do have that kind of folk tale surrounding the rabbit that we get kind of interspersed throughout the story in italics. It's an unusual choice, right? Not necessarily unique to this story, but we don't see it super often, right? And so I'm curious about kind of what we make of that structure, what that's doing in the story, how the rabbit story might be informing kind of more the present story that we're getting here of Rose and Lucy and so on and so forth. The other specific thing that I wanted to hit on here was names of characters, right? So we have Lucien here in contrast to Lucy. We have John as a character. So I'm just gonna, I'll ask kind of the question of kind of, the results of that, why you think that kind of happened, why we have names that are so similar in this story. But I'm also going to just posit a thought specifically about the John part of this. I think part of what McBee might be doing is it's always one of the challenges of a story that has a lot of different characters interacting with it, of helping the reader keep straight who is who. So when we can kind of plant some small subtle pieces here that help the reader keep track of things and figure things out. So like this John thing, like that just like stands out. Every time we get this character, we get their name twice in two slightly different forms. That's helpful to the reader in kind of sorting these things out. And again, just sorting through kind of a larger cast here. But okay, I'm actually just going to leave it at that. So as always, if there's other things related to this story that kind of caught your attention, please feel free to go in those directions as well. But I'm really interested to hear kind of what you think. Again, specifically about just sort of the New Orleans piece of this, but also the interspersed rabbit kind of folktale story and how that interacts with the main story. I think that's just sort of kind of a fascinating piece of this story that's worth talking about. So, all right, thank you as always for watching, and I'll catch you next time.